present Kenneth Williams, Derek Nimmo, Clement Freud and Sheila Hancock in just a minute. And as the minute waltz fades away, here to tell you about it is our chairman, Nicholas Parsons.
Thank you very much indeed. Hello. Welcome once again to Just a Minute, and once again it's my pleasure to welcome these four delightful and beautiful players of the game, who of course need no introduction to you all here in the audience and the listeners at home. Once again, the rules are as before. I'm going to ask each one of them to speak in turn, if they can, for 60 seconds on some unlikely subject, without hesitation, without repetition, and without deviating from the subject. And one of the other three may challenge if they think they're guilty of doing this. If I agree with the challenge, they will gain a point, and if I disagree with the challenge, a point will go to whoever is speaking. That's the way we play, and Sheila Hancock, will you begin this round for us? The subject is the little people. Would you talk for a minute on that, starting now?
Being 5'7.5" in my bare feet, I hate little people. When I stand next to a little person...
Derek Nimmo has challenged. Why?
Prejudice.
It's a very nice idea, Derek, but alas, it has got nothing to do with the subject, and therefore it is not a correct deviation. Sheila has a point, and there are 53 seconds left for the little people. Sheila, starting now.
The reason being, when I stand next to one of the little people, I feel tall and gawky and nasty. I want to smash the illusion that little people are frail and don't quite know how to cope with life. In fact, little people like Kenneth Williams...
Clement Freud, you've challenged. Why?
For little people.
Yes, we do allow people to repeat the subject matter on the card once or twice, maybe 3 times, but not 4 times. So, Clement Freud, you take over the subject of the little people with 41 seconds left, starting now.
If you were to walk into the peat bogs of County Connemara, you would invariably encounter someone with green ears or pointed head.
Derek Nimmo, you've challenged.
Deviation. You wouldn't invariably encounter one. I've never met one. I'm always in the bogs.
Well, don't let's get filthy. This is one of those occasions where obviously I must put it to the audience. Do you think, audience, that if you were to go into the peat bogs of Connemara, you might invariably meet one of the little people? If you do, will you cheer? And if you don't think so, will you boo? And will you all do it together now? They don't think you invariably meet the little people in the bogs of Connemara. So, Derek Nimmo, you gain the subject and a point, and 31 seconds left for the little people, starting now.
I once played in a pantomime at Chiswick Empire with 17 German dwarfs. It was New Year's Eve, and I invited them back to my caravan, and I gave them ordinary-sized glasses of gin and tonic. Whereupon...
Kenneth Williams, why have you challenged?
Deviation. You couldn't possibly get 16 dwarfs into a caravan.
Actually, it's totally true, actually.
Well, I should think, actually... I think
What was the pantomime?
What was the pantomime? Let us not deviate too much. I think it must be extremely uncomfortable, and especially with giving them large glasses of gin or whatever it was he gave them. But strictly speaking, he hasn't deviated from the subject, Kenneth, so well tried. Derek Nimmo keeps the subject, gains another point, and there are 20 seconds left for the little people, starting now.
They became intoxicated very rapidly, which surprised me, and one called Rudolph...
Clement Freud, why did you challenge?
Deviation, why should it surprise you? You give a dwarf a huge drink.
I think that's a very clever and justified challenge. Clement Freud, you say that I'm not fair. I think I'm being abundantly fair to you. Get another point. You have 16 seconds left for the little people, starting now.
Walking down Oxford Street, I once encountered a raggle-taggle queue of minute gentlemen, and I went up to their leader and said, would you kindly introduce me to your wife, because I'm most interested in meeting more people like you. You are the sort of people...
Oh... Very lucky. He said people just as the whistle went. And as he was speaking when the whistle went, Clement Freud gets that extra point. I wish, listeners, you could have seen the look on his face. He didn't know what on earth he was talking about. It was a very clever way. It shows you how clever is the game. Just keeping going and saying words which make sense but don't really have anything to do with anything in particular. Well done, Clement. And Clement, will you begin the next round for us? The subject is jumbo jets. Can you talk about that for 60 seconds, starting now?
A jumbo jet has been described as Rhode Island taking off. And it is, in fact, a huge aeroplane. And what it...
Derek Nimmo, you've challenged.
Hesitation.
Hesitation. The first hesitation of this particular show. I agree. You get a point, Derek. And there are 51.5 seconds left for jumbo jets, Derek, starting now.
It was a moment of tremendous...
You don't need to say, Clement, you get the subject back on the same challenge and a point. And there are 50 seconds left for jumbo jet, starting now.
Advertising this plane at the moment is a campaign saying, look big, long legs fly jumbo, which is an awful insult to the little people. You can imagine Henri Toulouse-Lautrec going to London Airport, for instance, and seeing this message.
Sheila Hancock, why have you challenged?
Deviation. There weren't aeroplanes when Toulouse-Lautrec was alive.
He did actually say you can imagine.
Oh, well,
that
he
Toulouse-Lautrec-
might, but I can't.
So, as he wasn't strictly deviating from the subject, bad luck, Sheila, I must be fair and keep it with Clement Freud, with 35 seconds left for jumbo jets starting now.
What is sad about jumbo jets is that they're very large and very difficult to service. So the cabin staff who are in plot...
Kenneth Williams, why do you challenge?
The fact that the aeroplane is large is not sad. It's just a fact. It's just a fact. It's large.
Agree.
Yeah, well,
yes,
there's
I quite
deviation.
agree.
Deviation.
Yes, you
deviation.
When Clement Freud said someone was surprised and he wasn't, I let Clement Freud have it. I will let you have it because it is not
Quite right.
sad. No, I quite agree. You have a point and you have the subject, Kenneth, with 27 seconds for jumbo jets starting now.
The title, of course, owes its origin to the hugeness of the animal after whom it...
Clement Freud, why have you challenged? Why have you challenged?
Animal.
Don't be
Deviate.
rude. We're not. We're
I take it
human
back.
beings. You take it back.
Yes.
You're too late
Yes,
now.
sir.
You've given it away.
Yes, sir.
Kenneth
I
Williams
want
has
Kenneth
another
to have
point.
his point.
It is a jumbo is a child's name for an animal. So Kenneth, you carry on. 21 seconds left for jumbo jets. Start. Don't be intimidated by Clement Freud, even though he's sitting next to you. You persevere. 21 seconds, Kenneth. Jumbo jets starting now.
And it also shares another characteristic of that creature because they are famous for never forgetting. And this aeroplane is famous in the same...
Derek Nimmo, why have you challenged?
Repetition of fame.
There was a repetition of famous, alas.
Oh, well, I was having a go.
Well, you had a very good go, but Derek has a point, and he has 8 seconds left for jumbo jet starting now.
I once went to the Elephant House in Regent Park Zoo, and there I got a great jumbo jet right in my face because I...
You challenge.
Deviation. I mean, obviously, if he had a jumbo jet in his face, he wouldn't be here today.
Well, we've only got to believe he got it, he's still here today, so, seeing is believing, and alas, no, he hasn't deviated from the subject. So he gets another point, and 4 seconds left for jumbo jets, Derek, starting now.
And I was terribly wet, and I went round to the man who looked after the elephants, and he gave me a
Yeah,
bun, and I said, thank you very much for the bun. This is very kind of you to say.
I'm sorry,
thank
you've
you.
been
And I-
challenged. You've been challenged. You had another jumbo jet in your ear hole then. And Hesitation. You
Hesitation, I said, I've never talked so rapidly in my life.
I know you talk so rapidly that some of the people actually missed the sort of that occurred, which Clement Freud picked up. So I must be fair and give the subject to him with 1 second left on jumbo jets, Clement, starting now.
first class.
And Derek Nimmo was challenged. Why do you challenge?
Well, deviation. You couldn't possibly talk about jumbo jets in 1 second.
Well, as it's neck and neck, I will give Clement the points for speaking when the whistle went, and Derek a bonus point for a clever challenge. All right, that's only a fair way to do it, I think. And they're both equal, you see. It keeps the thing neck and neck at the end of that round. Derek Nimmo and Clement Freud. Kenneth, will you begin the next round for us? A subject, I'm sure, entirely up
About
your
time
street.
I had something to say to say.
Well, I know you're going to flow eruditely on this one.
Yes.
Bernard Shaw. Will you speak for 60 seconds on him, starting now?
It is not generally known that this very...
Clement Freud, you've challenged.
Well, it's ridiculous you can't speak eruditely on Bernard Shaw for 1 minute.
You listen to Kenneth Williams. He's got another point.
I want to
And there are 53 seconds
Isn't
left.
that a
Ken-
clever challenge? It was a clever challenge just now.
You didn't make it before.
Kenneth Williams, you have 53 seconds for Bernard Shaw, starting now.
He wrote several novels, a half dozen actually, before he achieved any success, and that was not with the same thing. It was, of course, with playwriting, and during his period as an alderman of the vestry of St. Pancras, he was up 6:30 in the morning to write.
Sheila Hancock, you have challenged.
Oh, it's deviation. I don't believe he was...
He was the alderman of the vestry, yes he was. Bernard Shaw was.
The alderman of the vestry of St.
Yes.
Pancras up at 6:30.
Yes, he was.
I don't know about it. I don't know. Are
is
you
the
challenging on
alter-
that? I'd like to know, Sheila, are you challenging on the fact he got up at 6:30 or that he was an alderman of the vestry?
Deviation. I don't think Bernard Shaw ever got up at 6:30.
Which platform?
I'm sure he many times got up at 6:30. He was
She
also
don't know
an alderman of the
nothing
vestry.
for nothing anyway.
Anyway, what have you challenged for, Derek?
Nothing from nothing. Right?
Nothing from nothing. Sheila, Kenneth Williams has a point because he was an alderman in the vestry, and the 35 seconds left for Bernard Shaw, Kenneth, starting now.
Began so early in the morning that even Mrs. Patrick Campbell was heard to exclaim, "Your eyes are so far apart, I think I'll have to take a taxi." She had to do that. Then, of course, came the great success of Pygmalion, which, as we all know, took London audiences by surprise when that famous epithet was uttered, not something like... Well, I won't say...
Sheila Hancock, you challenge, why?
Deviation. It wasn't not something
No,
like
but I
this.
wasn't saying the word because it's rude.
Well, if you lead yourself into that impossible situation, Kenneth, I'm afraid you'll lose a point, at least the other way around. Sheila, for challenging...
I was just trying to behave like a gentleman, that's all.
Well, we all suffer in this game. I mean, Clement smarting because I gave a jumbo jet in 1 second to Derek Nimmo. He'll be upset in a minute because I've given something to Clement for
I won't
You're
be.
upset at the moment. Sheila Hancock is not upset at the moment because she has the subject, and there are 9 seconds left for Bernard Shaw. Sheila, starting now.
One of the things this gentleman was famous for was his correspondences with various actresses. Ellen Tech.
Clement Freud challenged. Hesitation, yes. Everybody challenged at once, but Clement Freud's light went on first, so he gains the point and the subject. 4 seconds. Bernard Shaw, Clement, starting now.
Bernard Shaw said that if you hit yourself on the head with a book and
Clement Freud...
It was a nice thing that he said. I just thought they ought to hear.
Yes, I'm sure they must. I mean, we'd all love to hear it. Yes.
Shaw said if you hit yourself on the head with a book and perceive a hollow sound, it doesn't necessarily mean that there's nothing in the book.
Sheila Hancock, it's your turn to begin the next round. The subject is keeping the peace. Can you talk about that for 60 seconds, starting now?
This is something upon which I am an expert. At home, I have a cupboard full of pieces of crockery, and it is a result of having kept the peace when I've broken something, with the idea that eventually I should mend it. One day, I'm going to put all these pieces together and make one huge pot of different assorted fragments. Another way of keeping the peace is between children when they are squabbling, and the thing to do is to lock one in the lavatory and one in the outhouse, and not say anything to them. And backstage, before we come on, Clem Freud does a good job between Kenneth Williams and I, but we are inclined to come to blows. However, I love him very much, and in the end, I don't hurt him because he is a nice little fella. I have also...
Clement Freud, your challenge.
Hesitation.
The most ungallant challenge
Yes,
of the
you're
show.
so right.
Yes. Alas, as chairman, I have to be fair and say it was a hesitation, so Clement Freud has a point and takes the subject with 8 seconds left for keeping the peace, starting now.
Keeping the peace is something I used to do a great deal when I was a Boy Scout. I was a peewit, and my best...
Derek Nimmo, why have you challenged?
Deviation. Peewit.
Why?
Well, it's deviation.
I thought he might have been a brownie or something, which, not a brownie, I mean, a cub,
No,
when
deviation.
his troop might have been the Peewits, were they?
Yes, yes.
Well, look,
Yes.
I'm afraid there seems to be a great feeling of disbelief here. If you think that Clement
No, I
Freud...
was a peewit. I mean,
He actually, come to think of it, he does look rather like a peewit.
So you are now
I do beg, I take
conceding
on
that.
my
that
Scout's honour, yes.
On his Scout's honour, he's told us that he was a Peewit once. So there we are. Clement, you keep the subject and another point, and you have 2 seconds left for keeping the peace, starting now.
We marched onto Hampstead Heath bearing...
Keeping the peace and Peewits and the whistle going as he was speaking gained Clement Freud 2 more points. And Clement, it's your turn to begin the next round. The subject is the perfect breakfast. Will you speak about that for 60 seconds, starting now?
Ideally, the perfect breakfast should follow the perfect dinner. On the morning after the meal, you arise...
Kenneth Williams, why do you challenge?
Hesitation.
Yes, I quite agree. He was searching for his perfect breakfast. So, Kenneth, you have a point and the subject with 52.5 seconds left for the perfect breakfast, starting now.
Taken in a thoroughly relaxed atmosphere, it should begin with cereals and fresh, clear, cool milk. And then, of course, the deviled kidneys. What could be more delectable than to see that plate full of these fried eggs and crisp bacon, The aroma itself, oh, it really gets me going. I'm throbbing there when I smell it, you know. And the crisp toast, of course.
Clement Freud, you challenge. Why?
Crisp.
Yes, we've had crisp before. We had crisp bacon. Now we've got crisp toast. I must say it was an object lesson, Kenneth, in how to keep going without stopping and making
Well, I
your
was
work.
trying to elongate me vowels.
I know you, and you achieved it too. So
I was
elongated.
hanging it out a bit, I must
Yes.
admit.
Anyway. But you couldn't have two crisps. So Clement has a point, and the subject, the perfect breakfast. 17 seconds left, starting now.
A kipper fillet is something that one should not be without. Ideally, the herring is smoked over chips of oak, hung up in a chimney, and they're then taken down after...
Derek Nimmo, why have you challenged?
Well, he's describing how to cook a kipper or smoke or cure a kipper, but not talking about a perfect breakfast.
Yeah, that's true. That's
So
very
therefore it's
true.
deviation.
It's very difficult because, you see, he did establish he was going to have this particular food for his breakfast. And he went on to say how he felt it would be most perfectly done. So he wasn't really deviating from the subject. I will put this one definitely to the audience. If you think that Clement Freud was deviating and you agree with Derek's challenge, will you cheer? If you disagree with his challenge, will you boo? And will you all do it together now? Equal. No points scored. Clement Freud continues with the subject. 4 seconds to go for the perfect breakfast, starting now.
Haddock is also essential.
Derek Nimmo, you've challenged.
Well, deviation, because they can't both be essential. Kipper and haddock.
I don't think they're both
The perfect
essential.
breakfast, you wouldn't have two fish courses.
No,
Two fish course.
The perfect breakfast?
Yes.
In your opinion, but
Yes.
not in Derek Nimmo's, and I have to make the judgment. And in this case, I give it to Derek Nimmo. 1 second left, Derek, starting now.
Grapefruit juice and croissant!
Sheila Hancock is challenged.
It is impossible deviation to talk about the perfect breakfast in 1 second.
Exactly, so you've got a point. All right. We have established that. I'm going to do that. I did it before, so Sheila
only had
Hancock has a
grapefruit
point,
juice.
and there's half a second left for the perfect breakfast, Sheila, starting now.
I
And Sheila was speaking as the whistle went. Clement Freud is still in the lead in this needle match, and Kenneth Williams is going to begin the next round, and the subject is fibs, I have told. You are looking very nonplussed. You obviously want a second to think. You've had your second. Will you go on fibs, I have told, Kenneth, starting now?
There are so many that I would really be hard put to it to single out one instantly.
Clement Freud, why do you shout?
Well, a number of reasons. Hesitation.
Rubbish, it wasn't
Comes-
hesitation. There's no hesitation there.
You went as slow as it's possible to
Well,
go
that's not
without coming...
hesitation.
I know, but there must come a time when you cannot elongate your vowels to such an extent.
And leave it hanging out.
Where does elongation not become a point? All right, I will
felt
do
the
it. I will do
vowel
it this way.
hanging out.
Out of fairness, I will say, if you elongate any more than that, it'll be hesitation next time. Please carry on. With fibs, I have told, not to elongated vowels. 52 seconds, starting now.
A notable one was when I was being attacked by a huge burly brute in Ceylon. All right, I said, hit me if you want to hit a man with plastic legs. Well, he drew back, obviously surprised, and he obviously too felt, obviously...
Don't hit Clement Freud. Derek Nimmo challenged you first. Derek. Yes, a repetition of obviously. Derek, you take over the subject of fibs, I have told, but there are 34 seconds left, starting now.
I once told a fisherman in Norfolk that I was the Duke of Somerset. This surprised him, and he took me out for a long sail in his ship. And I got onto the boat, and the most extraordinary thing happened. The wind blew up.
Kenneth Williams, why have you challenged?
Deviation. He's began with a ship and it's now become a boat.
Well, you can't repeat it.
What was that?
You can't repeat the thing.
No, you can't repeat it. And after all,
It could have been a vessel. For a ship to
then
become
you'll
a
say,
ship.
why is his ship became a vessel? Sometimes, sometimes real seagoing people do refer to their ships as boats. And I've heard them even talk about the Queen Elizabeth as a boat. So this is shipping parlance, and I
thought it
therefore...
was a very good challenge of Kenneth.
I know you did, because you're on his side, and
No,
you're
no,
only
no,
1
no,
point. You're
no.
equal with Derek
No, no,
Nimmo, so it's a
nothing to do with-
needle match,
nothing to do
and
with
it's
that
very
at all.
difficult
Nothing
to
to do with
judge, especially when you try to brown me. Derek, I'm with you. You gain a point, and there are 19 seconds left for fibs, I have told, starting now.
Going to a greengrocer's in Halifax, I said, are those peas? And the man said, why do you say that when you see quite obviously they're beans? I said, I want to tell you a fib. He said, why? Now, I said, it's curious that you should ask me this, because as I was wandering along the street, round the corner, 2 but 4 from the left, I thought, why can't I go?
Well, as Derek was speaking then, when the whistle went, he gains another point, and he has a lead of 1 at the end of that round over Clement Freud, and Sheila and Kenneth are in 3rd place together. Derek, it's your turn to begin the next round, and the subject is what I shall leave out of my autobiography. And I can tell you right away, I'll leave a few of those fibs out for a start. Anyway, 60 seconds starting now.
I shall leave out from my autobiography any suggestion.
Sheila Hancock, your challenge.
Whatever, hesitation,
Yes, I'm
autobiography.
afraid it's probably going to be the last round, and obviously all going to be tough, so I have to be tough with you here, Derek.
Yeah.
Sheila has a point.
I
There
don't
are
mind.
55 seconds left for what I shall leave out of my autobiography, Sheila, starting now.
I shall definitely leave out my early life, because it is the part of a biography that I always skip. I find it...
Derek, Nimmo, why have you challenged?
Well, the subject is autobiography, not biography.
Did she say biography?
Yes, I
She
did.
said biography.
Yes, I did.
So it's deviation.
Still correct.
All right, he can have it, because I don't want to say what
No,
I'm
it's
going to
still,
leave
it's
out.
still not deviating from the subject.
Well, it's a different subject. An autobiography is written by the person who
Yes, but she
lived
might
the
have been
life.
going on to say what I shall leave out of my biography has got nothing to do with what I shall leave out of my autobiography. We don't know. I mean, it's not actually deviating
say
from
that.
the subject. She didn't say it, but we weren't to know.
But I was told...
Sheila has a point, and there are 47 seconds left for what I shall leave out of my autobiography, Sheila, starting now.
I shall also definitely leave out the fact that I played in a game called Just a Minute, because sometimes it got very ugly. People like Derek Nimmo were incredibly cruel to me.
Clement Freud, why have you challenged?
Deviation.
Why?
There are no people like Derek Nimmo.
I'm sure in this world there's some charming, there's some delightful people, there's some intelligent people. They may not all have it in the same package as Derek Nimmo, but there must be some people like Derek Nimmo. So Sheila has another point, and she continues with what I shall leave out of my autobiography. 39 seconds left, starting now.
In fact, I shall be pretty hard pushed to find anything that I can put in my autobiography. I may put the incident when...
Clement Freud, you've challenged.
Hesitation.
Yes, she did actually hesitate, and I was tough before, so I'll have to be tough again. Sheila, I'm sorry. 17 seconds for what I shall leave out of my autobiography, starting now.
I shall not mention Londonderry and all the...
Derek Nimmo, you've challenged.
Hesitation.
Hesitation, I agree. 12 seconds left, starting now.
I shall leave out of my autobiography the time that I spent in a monastery in Cyprus, because there I found out all sorts of extraordinary things about the sacred mushroom. There they were.
Well, I'm afraid that is all we have time for in this particular game of Just a Minute. As you realize, it was a needle match, because 1 minute Derek was leading Clement by a point, and then a minute or second or two later, it was the reversed. Well, at the final spurt, Derek got that extra point when the whistle went on that last subject, so it gives him a lead of 1. So by 1 point over Clement Freud in second place, Sheila, Hancock, and Kenneth Williams equal in third place. Our winner this week by 1 point, Derek Nimmo. I would say it was almost a moral draw, because they were so neck and neck. Anyway, we do hope you've enjoyed this particular edition of Just a Minute, and from all of us here, goodbye.
Chairman of Just a Minute was Nicholas Parsons. The program was devised by Ian Messiter and produced by David Hatch.